Erdogan went on Fox News and was like Duncan saying crazy stuff. Out of the goat. We'll get to that, but let's hear what Marco Rubio has to say about Palestine.
So, Mr. Secretary, we were hoping that you can give us a preview. Apparently, the president wants his famous message of peace through strength today at the UN. What do you anticipate him saying?
Well, I think one of the things the president's going to have to address and is going to address is the UN itself. And that is, why do we still have a UN? It has tremendous potential. The UN is an organization that has the potential to do some great things around the world, but it's not doing it. If you look at Russia and Ukraine, you have a war going on there. It's the president that's been carrying the burden of trying to bring it to an end. The UN is playing no role. If you look at what's happening in Gaza with Hamas and everything that's happened there with Israel taking them on, what role is the UN playing? None. We're going to try here, and even as close to home in the Western Hemisphere, in a place like Haiti, that's been overrun by gangs that control that country and has destabilized the region. The U.S. is asking for the UN to step up and play a very important role. We have a lot of support, but it looks like China might stand in the way of this effort to bring that about. The UN will play no role if they do that. So I think what the president's going to do is challenge the UN to find its meaning and its purpose and its utility as an organization, because it doesn't seem to be doing the job, and it's pretty good at spending a lot of money. I think you can anticipate the president will point to his own history with the UN, going back to his time here as a developer, where he actually offered to fix the UN building, and instead they chose to go in another direction, wasted a bunch of money, and really didn't achieve on the building's perspective what needed to happen. And I think it's emblematic of how feckless the UN has become as an organization. It's just a place where once a year a bunch of people meet and give speeches and write out a bunch of letters and statements, but not a lot of good, important action is happening. So again, the UN has a lot of potential, but it's not living up to it right now.
So the Turkish leader Erdogan sat down with Brett Baer yesterday. We got two topics to talk to you about that, one of which was asked about the war in Russia. He's basically, he's indifferent. Likes both guys, and in Gaza. But he seems to take a shot at President Trump. Listen.
He just straight up said, I don't believe Hamas is a terrorist group. It's a resistance group, which, once again, in spite of his allegiance to Israel, out of the goat is back on top. This is what the watermelon salesman does, okay? And he does it very well.
Ben sadece şunu söyleyeyim.
I can only say this. Mr. Trump, you might remember he's used a term when he said, I will finish the Russia-Ukraine war. Did it end?
Hala devam ediyor.
It still goes on.
Aynı şekilde
Similarly,
Gazze Savaşı'nı ben bitiririm.
he said, I will finish the war in Gaza.
Değil mi?
Did it end?
Hayır.
No. That means
Demek ki
once we start analyzing the issue, there are prices to pay.
faturalar ödeniyor.
And when we look at the hostage exchange, that was done. It goes on.
So he says the president doesn't get it done. This is a NATO ally. Your thoughts?
Well, look, I didn't hear the entirety of the interview. I can only tell you that on both of those issues, on the case of Russia, Ukraine, the only leader in the world that has any chance of bringing it to an end is President Trump, which is why he has put more time and energy into it than anybody else. All of these other countries, including Turkey, by the way, are begging us to be involved. They want us to be involved. Look, these people go out and say what they want to say, but at the end of the day, when they want something done, they want to come to the White House. President Erdogan is coming to the White House this week to meet with the president. They all come to the White House. They all want to speak to President Trump. They all want President Trump to fix it. So they can say whatever they want to say. The truth of the matter is that we have leaders, we have meetings going on today that we have leaders begging to be.
Bro, you're America. Yeah, no dude. Oh my God, I can't believe that Turkey is begging for an audience with the president of America. You're not Estonia, little bro. You are not Lithuania. You are the United States of America. No It's so stupid that these guys are like, oh, they're still coming. They're talking big but they're still here. It's like, yeah, no man. Don't yell. He can already hear you. True. I should probably moderate my voice. I'm probably hurting his Dumbo ears right now.
Be a part of it. They are calling, saying, can we be included? Can you bring us in? Can you get me 5 minutes to shake the president's hand? He is the indispensable leader in the world right now. He is the only one who has any chance.
Wow, I can't believe it. America is the indispensable leader of the world. Wow. Wow, thank you, man. I had no clue how that, like, what? dude, the thing I don't understand about this is like, if you're there, if you're that, okay, then you don't have to say these things. This is what a weak and embarrassed nation does. And I sometimes feel like they're aware of something that I am not. The way he's talking about it is like, it almost feels like he's trying to convince himself. It's like, yeah, we know, man. We know how this is. Okay. We know how this goes, but you're not acting like it. That's the problem.
Of not just brokering a deal to end the war with Russia and Ukraine, but also bringing about the war that's going and getting all the hostages released in Gaza. And I think he's put more time and energy into peace proposals and peace initiatives than anybody else in the world. And he's had the most success of anybody else in the world. He doesn't get a lot of credit, but let's not forget the DRC and Rwanda had a war going on. It's the president that's brokered that. Azerbaijan and Armenia. It's the president that brought that about. Thailand and Cambodia. Right. It's the president that brought that end of that about. India and Pakistan. That's just 4 right off the top of my head in the last few months. And the president's the one that did that, not any other leader in the world, and not the UN.
Mr. Secretary, Fox is exclusively reporting that Hamas wrote a letter directly to President Trump asking for a pause in fighting for 60 days in exchange for half of the hostages. Do you know if this letter has been delivered yet? And will the president entertain this idea?
I don't know who they gave that letter to. It wouldn't have mattered, though, because the president's been clear, and that is that we haven't seen the letter. We don't have that letter. And even if we did, it wouldn't matter. The president has already made clear he's not interested in 60 days, 10 people. He wants all the hostages out, all 48, including the 20 who are alive.
Yeah, it almost feels like there is a way to do that. And both the Biden administration and the Trump administration actually put that as a plan. And then Israel made it impossible. Israel ruined it.
28 who are deceased. He wants them all. There should have never been any. Why are we even talking about hostages? Why do we still have to talk about hostages at this point? There shouldn't be any. They should all be released immediately. Period. That's the president's position. So he would have rejected that offer had it come, but we haven't seen that letter. I think they gave it to the media or somebody, but they haven't given it to us.
Mr. Secretary, the president said the final warning to Hamas. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, you've got Israel is right at the doorstep of Gaza City. I mean, they've begun an operation to go in. And all of the leaders of Hamas, all of the main leaders inside of Gaza and Hamas are all concentrated in Gaza City. It may take a while, but they're not going to survive the Israeli push. Now, what we would hope to see is that it doesn't have to happen because Hamas surrenders. They lay down.
Rubio's below speech targeting Erdogan, saying Turkey's begging Trump to end the war in Gaza has gone viral in Turkey, treated as an insult against Erdogan, the begging part. I'm going to keep it $1.50. Ragip is a little bit of a Erdogan crony, okay? I am not so certain that the Turkish population is as in love with Erdogan. Wow, the Turks are really mad that America is belittling Turkey. Like, what the No, man. The Turks are the Turks are mad that everything is unimaginably expensive. Erdogan is literally still popular in Turkey. This is the least popular Erdogan has been in Turkey since he rose to power. Get the out of here. This doesn't mean that there aren't dick riders still. It's just the hostages are all likely dead because of Israel's doing, but Hamas knows if they release the hostages, then Israel will figuratively nuke Gaza. For sake, read my other message first. We just saw nuke Gaza, and chatters understandably responded to that and thought that you were being the classic Israel dick rider.
On their arms, they release all the hostages, and then the important work of sort of rebuilding Gaza and providing a place where Palestinians can live prosperously and peacefully. That work can begin, but that work can't begin until the hostages are released and Hamas no longer exists. And so the sooner that happens, the sooner peace will begin.
I want to make sure to get this in because I know your time is tight. You were brilliant, as in so many speakers, saluting the life of Charlie Kirk. Here's a little of the moments a lot of people are talking about. Watch.
Because he took on that death, because he carried that cross, we were freed from the sin that separated us from him. And when he returns, there will be a new heaven and a new earth, and we will all be together, and we are going to have a great reunion there again with Charlie and all the people we love.
It looks like that was coming from the heart, not the prompter. Can you bring us back to that moment?
Well, look, Charlie, I think what makes this situation so unique is that Charlie Kirk wasn't just a figure involved in American politics and a political discourse. Charlie was a friend to a lot of people in the White House and a lot of people in this administration, like on a personal level. He's someone that I had just been interacting with just a few days before he died, because he was in South Korea and was eager to come back home and tell me what he had seen while he was there. And a lot of other people, the vice president was very close to him personally, a lot of members of the staff. It's just, so I think it adds a new element to this. Obviously, this is a major story, a horrific tragedy, and before everyone in the age of social media, everyone saw it instantly. And so I think it impacted people across the country, but I think it had a particularly special impact in addition to all of that because of the personal connection here. And I thought that on Sunday was a very unique opportunity for many of us, not just to pay tribute to the life that Charlie Kirk lived, but the way he lived it and the core of his message. And his faith was at the core of his message. I think Charlie, if he was able to us, would here to say that politics is important, what we do in government is important, these debates on issues are important, but the most important thing of all is our faith and our...
Yeah, I saw another net favorability poll that came out. Democrats minus 60%, Independents minus 11%, GOP plus 69%. Charlie Kirk has finally arrived at a +1 net favorability with unlimited amounts of vague gesturing towards his activism from liberal media. People still don't give a f. And part of the reason why is because they also hate Donald Trump. People hate Donald Trump. Make no mistake. You don't get to see how much people hate Donald Trump in mainstream news because they actively normalize his behavior for some weird reason. And obviously it's just all glaze on Fox News and whatnot. But people don't like Donald Trump, okay? Americans broadly dislike him for understandable reasons. He's an egomaniacal, narcissistic piece of shit who is openly corrupt. So obviously one of his main vehicles for propaganda is also not going to be a beloved figure, no matter how hard these guys try to present it as such. Okay? Oh, that's it. That's it. That's it. This is just like so stupid that people are like, no, you don't understand, dude. This is a deity, a beacon, a shining light of politics in this country.
Family and that and Charlie lived that, and he believed it, and it was at the core of his message. He had an extraordinary amount of wisdom for a 31-year-old young man. He really did. I mean, it usually takes a lifetime to acquire the kind of wisdom that he had.
And the president did a beautiful job speaking there, and so did his wife. The president, what is his reaction? What's the administration's reaction about our allies? We have France, we have the UK, we have Australia and Canada recognizing the Palestinian state. What does that say about our influence?
Well, these countries are doing it, frankly, because of domestic political pressure in their own countries. You know, because of migration policies, their countries have been flooded with foreigners who have become politically active and are insisting that their governments do these sorts of things. And so that's what they're responding to. But look, it's irrelevant. It's going to get a little bit of attention, but there is no Palestinian state. You can put all the, it's kind of an emblematic of what the president says about the UN. You can put out all the paper in the world you want. The only way there's ever going to be a permanent solution to this challenge between Palestinians and Israelis is a negotiated settlement.
Dude, American fascism is so strange because like previous iterations of fascism did not exist in such a multicultural world that American fascism one-shots me every time I hear a Cuban talk about like the enemy, the danger of foreigners. Dog, what the f are you? Your name is Marco Rubio. What are you talking about? It just doesn't fucking make any sense. Like, at least like in Germany, you're presenting this folk, okay? This like superior Aryan master race narrative because there's not a lot of travel, okay? Not a lot of migration and things like that happening to the same degree that it happened in the United States of America. This is the most multicultural, most diverse place on the planet, dude. I don't get how these guys who are also literally not like 2 generations removed from living somewhere else, turning around and being like, yeah, you know what we got to do? We got to over these people, man, these goddamn foreigners. Get them out. Get them out. It doesn't make no sense. It didn't make sense when the Nazis were doing it, when the Italians were doing it, when Franco was doing it, but it makes extra less sense when an American is doing it. And like some of the primary speakers of this movement are Hispanic, Who cares if he's Cuban? He's white as Pestany. It doesn't fucking matter, dog. I know whiteness is a socio-political construct, but ultimately, I mean, I'm white too. What are you talking about? Look at how pasty I am. It doesn't matter. This is a group that can tighten. The whiteness is a socio-political construct and it has expanded, except it can also contract. It can get smaller.
In which the Palestinians are going to have a territory and they're going to govern it, but it cannot be one that's going to be used as a launch pad for attacks against Israel. And that's something that has to be negotiated with Israel. It isn't going to exist without Israel's participation. That's what these leaders should have spent their time working on, ending this war, eliminating Hamas, so you can get to that stage of talks about that topic. But for them, and for some of them in particular, more than others, it's sort of a vanity project that's trying to make themselves relevant. But here's the bottom line, and here's the truth. Okay, when it comes to actually getting peace done, when it comes to actually stopping this, they're not going to any of these other countries.
Of course.
They're coming to us, they're going to President Trump, and they're asking him to get involved and bring it to an end. You just asked me about a letter to from Hamas. Hamas didn't send a letter to France. Hamas didn't send a letter to any of these countries on your list.
Yeah, I wonder why. Because the primary belligerent here is the United States of America, and they're aware of that. But again, Israel in its existence offers America plausible deniability. Oh, it's just, it's them doing it, and they're doing it autonomously. They're doing this because they're a sovereign nation. Also, God forbid we restrict them in any capacity. Is he playing dumb or actually dumb? No, these guys aren't that stupid. They all know what's good. They all know exactly what's going on. They know exactly what's happening. Come on. They know who holds the cards here. They just don't give a shit. They don't care.
Hamas apparently, supposedly, sent a letter to President Trump because everyone knows, even
this is him playing to the domestic audience about the importance of Donald Trump. And it's like, yeah, no shit, dude. Why don't you do something about it, dumbass? That's the point.